Hey, what up folks, and welcome to Trader's Edge. I'm going to be your host today, Ed Katashabe from Forex Insights SA, and today we are expanding on the emotions in trading, and two particular emotions in particular which have killed more trading careers than anything else. Now those are fear and greed. Those two emotions have probably ruined more trading careers than any market manipulation ever could. And if you are a trader who suffers from those two emotions, you are basically trying to sprint up a sheer cliff. Your trading career is not going to last much longer. So you want to pay attention to what I'm about to say, grab a notebook, and let's really delve deep into things. So let's expand on fear. Fear can make you do a lot of crazy things in the market. If you're a trader who maybe closes your trades early, you never let things go to full TP. If things are in drawdown, you're panicking. You are canceling trades early while in drawdown, you never let them go to full TP. Those are all signs that you are a fearful trader. You're letting the emotion of fear dictate how you trade. Now, fear is a natural emotion, especially when our livelihoods are at stake. When you're trading, trying to make money to provide for you, to provide for your family, that is a natural emotion to have. But as a trader, you need to kick that emotion to the curb and try and suppress it as much as possible. Now, one of the things that adds to the fear in trading is normally when you don't have a concise plan or concise statistics behind your trading. If you have a profitable strategy, maybe you don't have the correct stats on if this strategy does work in the long term. You're going through this without a solid plan, you haven't thought it out, and each and every trade feels like a gamble. And now you're afraid that gamble is not going to pay off. So one of the ways that you can go about correcting that is back testing your strategy concisely, forward testing it as well, and getting solid statistics behind your trading methodology. If you know that you have an 80% success rate with this strat, it tends to go this far into drawdown, it normally takes this long for it to hit a full take profit, then you can be calm when you're in a trade. You know, listen, there's an 80% chance this trade's gonna work out, and it's going to take 3.5 hours on average to hit full TP. So you know that if this trade loses, listen, there was always a 20% chance this trade would lose. I should win the next 8 after this. And you should know, after 2.5 hours in the trade, if you aren't at full TP yet, it normally takes 3.5 hours. I can rest easy for another hour, hour and a half before I need to panic. These are the type of things that help put that fear at bay. When you have answers to those fearful questions of whether or not this trade is going to hit TP, whether or not I'm going to win this trade at all. And those are the type of things that you need to do to try and curb the fear. You need to be as prepared as possible for each and every trade. Another reason traders tend to be fearful is you're probably risking too much. Are you risking something that you can't afford to lose? If you're only risking 1% of your account, so what if you hit stop loss? It was only 1% of the account, you still have plenty in the bank after that. But if you're full sending and either this account is going to grow or it's going to blow, that is going to elicit some very strong feelings of fear. And these are the kind of mistakes that newbie traders and unprofitable traders tend to make. If you're scared each and every trade, then you're probably making at least one of these two mistakes. You do not understand how profitable your strategy is long term, and you're probably risking too much. And on the risking too much, that's when greed comes into the picture. You are over leveraging. Instead of risking 1%, you're risking 3, 4, 5%. If you're on a funded account, this one trade is either going to pass the account or it's going to breach the account. Those are the kinds of greedy behavior that tends to ruin traders in the long term. Trading is one of those games where you have to play the long game. No one got into trading and got rich the very next day. You're going to need to give yourself the time it takes to compound over time and grow slowly. So one of the ways to overcome greed is before you even enter the trade, before you even start trading for the day, for the week, for the month, is sit down with your sober mind and try and come up with a solid plan. How much do you intend to make realistically this week, this day, this month? Based on the statistics of your strategy, is that possible? How are you going to do it? Are you going to be risking 1% of your account per trade every trade? If you're on a personal, are you going to be risking 10% of the account per trade, every trade? When are you going to increase your lot sizes? When are you going to decrease your lot sizes? What pips are you targeting in profit? What are your pips in drawdown going to look like? That way, you come up with all those decisions when you're not thinking about the actual money, when you're not in the hype of the moment, feeling that greed. Then when you enter the trade, you follow those things to a T. Yes, you're gonna make only $100 off this first trade, but you have a compounding strategy that off the 10th trade, you'll be making $1,000 in the trade. But you're not trying to make $1,000 a trade from the very first trade with only risking $100 to begin with. You need to come up with a solid plan beforehand in order to make sure that you're still alive and in the game 10 trades, 20 trades, 30 trades from now. No one got rich one day from the markets. It's an up and down journey. Your job is to be here for the long haul. So those are the kind of things that you need to look out for. Fear and greed are the two biggest killers of any trader's career, and your ability to overcome those is going to be your greatest asset. And as always, you have to get away from your reptilian brain and start using your higher level functioning. Backed by stats, backed by research, backed by solid planning. Because if you decide that you're going to wing it, trade for trade, your natural reptilian brain, which is very strong, it's where all your instincts lie, that is what's going to go over. And fear and greed are going to become part of the mix. So, as always, my advice always is sit down with yourself and do the work. Do the back testing, do the statistical analysis and figure out exactly how does your plan work, how long realistically is it going to take you with your 80% win rate, your 70% win rate, your 50% win rate, with your 1:1 RR, your 1:2 RR, whatever your particular strategy calls for. What are the stats long term after 10 trades, 20 trades, 30 trades, and extrapolating that, how much money do you intend on making in your first 10 trades, 20 trades, 30 trades. And once you have a solid plan to work from and you're following that plan to a T, it takes the ambiguity and the unknowns out of the picture. And those unknowns, am I going to make money on this trade? Am I going to breach my account? Once those unknowns have answers to them, fear and greed are going to lessen. Now, the first time you do this, it isn't to say that you're going to perfectly conquer your fear and greed. It is going to be a process. It's something you're going to need to work on, but it is going to give you a right footing to at least start to conquer those. Get your psychology right, and then your trading is going to come after. Trading is 80% psychology, 20% actual execution. So getting your psychology in the right space is going to allow you to stay in the game for the long haul. And that is where you're going to reach true profitability. Your plan should be, I need to be trading in a very concise and profitable way a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. You shouldn't be trying to get rich next month, because that is a surefire way to sabotage yourself from the process. A 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan is how you are going to get profitable. So that's all my advice on trading psychology right now. Please tune in to the next episode next week where we'll tackle another important topic.